So T3s weren't envisioned at the very beginning, then you're saying?
No, that was a surprise. I think there was a change to the rope joint system, which allowed rotation, and then it was all on. Just yeah, the core swinging as well. I think at one point I was thinking about marking the initial structure or some of it to prevent people accidentally deleting what was supporting the reactor. We ended up scrapping it, but that would have gotten in the way of core swinging. It's actually quite balanced because it takes time and it's challenging. You can knock yourself out, and it gives you some benefit, but it also sets you back a little bit too.
And every so often someone misclicks.
That's right, and it makes for a few laughs.
Mm-hmm.
This question will be for all of you, but Jeff, let's go first. If you could implement any system in Fort, just steal a feature from any game and not have to worry about implementing it, just magically appeared, what would it be?
Probably from another game, maybe like dedicated servers or something like that to help with, people thwarting the system, so to speak.
The challenge is peer-to-peer, we'll say.
Yeah. Well, I just like the idea that ranked could be, even more solid in that regard,
What do you say about ranked, Jeff?
Nothing.
Yeah, Jeff stole mine as well. I'd say dedicated servers the biggest thing that could just solve a whole bunch of problems. Network stability, latency, cheating, and that sort of thing. So, yep.
That would be nice. That'd be nice to steal that.
That's some sexy features, that is. That's up there with interactive menus on the back of initial DVD releases.
Do you have something somewhat more fun to add, Nick?
Oh, wow.
Ray tracing, for example?
3D
effects.
No 3D. Yeah, particle effects engine, from Unreal or Unity, something like that would be cool. I don't know. More interactive. Played this game called High Fleet. That's got a really interactive, editor to build your spaceships and stuff. Super interactive. Something like that. Maybe pre-built forts. We did have an idea for that ages ago, but it didn't really sort of pan out. But yeah, that's a pretty tricky one, Ryan, to sort of bring on us at the last minute. Yeah, sure. There's loads of fun things to add in there. Someone to tell us how to put it onto joypad, something like that. That'd be good. That's more of a sort of wish list kind of thing. RTS is notoriously difficult to put onto joypads, but got a Steam Deck now, so tried playing Forts on that. Pretty tricky at the moment, but it's a halfway house, so yeah. But other features, yeah, not sure.
From the community, I've heard things like, obviously they would like turn-based for some players who just struggle with the RTS genre. I've also heard, like, why can't we have 100 player battle royales?
Oh, yeah.
Or auto-firing weapons.
Where would all these 100 forts fit?
I don't think many of these features would be as fun for the players as they think they would be, and I certainly don't think they would have the same longevity that Forts has had.
Especially if you have like the ring system that a lot of battle royales have, and you can't move your fort. You're. I
think there is a mod.
That's going to take some serious core swinging to get back in that ring each time it closes.
There is a mod that does that. They have rings that get smaller as time goes on. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I'll have to check that
out.
The
mod makers are incredibly creative. It's just stuff I wouldn't even think of.
Yep.
Okay, Nick, if you could choose any weapon in the game, why would it be the sniper?
Why would it be the sniper? The sniper is actually a real pain when it comes to designing the single player levels, especially the AP sniper. There's lots of mission layouts I've thought of that always get thwarted by the enemy, the AI having a sniper. So that is always a a struggle. My favourite weapons, though, I do like the shotgun and the howitzer. I think the howitzer just has that satisfaction. I think a lot of the weapons I really enjoy are the ones where, especially from if I'm viewing a tournament, where you can see them sailing through the air and it's a matter of will it hit, and if it hits, how much damage it's going to do. Like the howitzer, the deck gun, the orbital laser, the warhead. That sort of sense of anticipation is really, really fun.
Especially in combination with the Magna Beam. Skillful use of that plus the howitzer or cannon, and it can be game-ending and really dramatic. So yeah, that's Magna Beam's probably my favorite.
Right, you, Jeff?
I'm a fan of the orbital laser. I love the anticipation and stress when you fire it, the slow projectile, and bullets going all around it trying to take it out, and if it just sneaks through and lands, and then there's that delay before it actually comes down, and it's just like, you're like, oh, how much damage is going to happen, and it's just incredibly satisfying.
I can just imagine all the sailors and soldiers sort of like, it's landed, like, brace.
What we are about to receive, maybe you're truly grateful. I believe that is a traditional greeting for a broadside.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with the sniper, and the reason for that is that when I started playing forts, lasers were pretty much the meta at that time, and I could not aim them. It's a straight line, and I still can't do it consistently for some reason, especially if it's straight across. Up and down, I can aim them relatively well, but the sniper just seemed more intuitive. Again, like my childhood as well, a lot of artillery-style games, so it just arcs seem more natural. Okay, back to a slightly more serious question. Tim, what has Forts taught you about being a video game developer, and maybe both the technical side and also the business side of things?
I guess technically, there's just so much you have to learn. It's kind of like managing a herd of cats. There's just so many things happening, and it's constantly in motion, and you can't remember half the cats and what they're doing, and so yeah, you just do your best to manage the complexity of the project. It's got a life of its own, basically. I think it taught me to be humble about what I do. Like, I do my best, but it's never going to be perfect. So I just keep working at it. Yeah, over time it improves. Like every update, we fix a whole bunch of things, and it's never going to be the end. It's just, we chip away at it. In terms of business, just right-sizing the team and the project is really important. I've been reading about teams that have been way too ambitious and hiring hundreds of staff. The scope of the project is too large, and it's just difficult to fully engage all of those developers and get the best out of them. But if you've got a modestly sized team and a modestly scoped project, you can get a lot of traction, get the maximum benefit out of the team, maximize the profit of the whole operation. So yeah, that's what we've tried to do. We're expanding slowly, but we've never tried to grow beyond our means to manage it, I think. Anybody else want to chip in?
Just about the expanding the team, because there's so many code cats that you're herding, like all the tech and all the, the code that is so intricate and interconnected and all that stuff, having extra programmers has made it a little easier on yourself, hasn't it? Because you got some people you can kind of fall back on to spread the load of trying to fix stuff and do all that. And just limiting our expansion to that has been good, keeping small. And we have the three main things covered just in the core team with code and art and sound, that keeps us small and well, look, we're still around, right? 5 years later. Seems to be working for us.
Yeah, I like having a small team. I think we all like doing our disciplines. More people you bring on, the more time you spend managing, the less you'll spend doing the actual, your core discipline. And I still get a lot of enjoyment with doing the art, and even, little bits of art, little features here and there that I get a little, enjoyment out of doing, like sometimes a tiny little button, or, redoing the UI or something like that. So I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. And what I've learned about in the game side of things is how much I've learned over my career that I didn't know I'd learned about game and game design coming through doing Forts. That was quite an eye-opener, quite rewarding. And biz dev, a lot of it's down to, we all sort of have a decent sort of business sense, sort of intuitively, on the one hand. On the other hand, there's so much to learn that you just got to learn on the fly when you put a game out. It's crazy how many things you got to think about. That is real. It can be testing sometimes, and it's good to have. You need a support network, and because it really pushes you to your limits as far as stress goes. I mean, now things are going pretty good, but getting out the door, that was struggle street.
As I understand it, the past couple of years, basically there have never been more video games released in any given year, and at the same time it's never been more challenging to be a game developer with just so much competition out there that there are so many games that no one will ever hear about, and it's so difficult to get that traction starting out. So are there any other developers out there or video games that inspired you when you were working on Forts or now today?
I don't know. I trying to think back. I think I just focused on what I had to do. I wasn't really looking to other games at that time. We just had so much work to do. Yeah, we were running out of money too. We had to borrow from friends and family. It was just a matter of getting the job done. Now there are plenty of games, high quality indie games that we look at and think we'd like to, replicate some of their style or features. FGL was a favorite of mine for a long time. Just had a really clean gameplay system, like just really clicked. The art style supported it. It was infinitely replayable, although horrendously hard. Maybe there are parallels to Forts, I don't know. But yeah, I'd say FGL was an inspiration.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
when it came to inspiration, one thing, but when it came to putting the game out and people look to, there's certain developers used to work for Defiant Development, and Morgan Jaffet and Dan Treble, who ran that, were always happy to give their input and advice. Also, the guys at League of Geeks, Trent, Blake, and Ty, there was very forthcoming advice, and they ran a multiplayer only game as a service game with Armello, so there's sort of a lot of crossover there. There was no one really we knew who had sort of done the similar kind of thing where we had the single player and the multiplayer. I guess that's quite a big sort of piece of pie to bite off as a small indie team. And then guys over at Witchbeam, who Jeff works with, Nart and Tim, they were always forthcoming with their advice. They just launched the game just before us, so it's always nice to have people who've sort of trodden the path already, just to keep you level-headed. At some points it seems like there's too much to do and it can get overwhelming, and it's always nice to have people telling you to keep a bit of perspective and focus on what's necessary. So that's really helpful. Can't just do these things alone.
I think games that have inspired me in the past are games like Doom or Legend of Zelda. I'm a huge fan, and the audio in these games has always inspired me, influenced me. Games like Quake, and just I played a lot of Counter-Strike back in the day.
Office.
Yeah. and Team Fortress, So definitely, the way I approach things is an accumulation of ideas from all of those things, and it influences what I do now, for sure.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of the serious questions here. Tim, what is the first step to creating a video game? This is a rather broad question, I'm afraid.
Just add water.
Yeah, wow. I guess it depends on your discipline. It helps to have a great idea. Yeah, and really think about that idea and how it would play out, what the market is for it, how difficult it is to develop, what sort of team you need around it, what sort of technical skills, what competition you have. That's That's what I would say. I mean, when I came up with the idea for Forts, I didn't really have much of an idea. This was, 19 years ago now. And I was a cog in a larger machine. I wasn't even a game designer. I just programmed, basically. And so I had to pick up all of these things as I went along. I guess another thing is don't be a jerk, because you're going to need friends to help you make these games. So be friendly with your co-workers, and they might be part of your team sometime in the future.